Hey, my friends, what is good? Derek here from Bomb Socks with another week of Bomb Bites, where we feast upon the words of Christ, and as always, we do it one bite at a time. So, after an amazing Easter week this last week, we're back in the Doctrine and Covenants, and we're studying the wonderful sections of sections 37 to 40, and we've got some great videos from our Bomb Bites video collection to help you appreciate, to learn from, and enjoy these sections just a little bit more. And if you haven't already, you got to go check out our amazingly comfortable gospel-themed socks at bombsocks.com. Godspeed, friends, and enjoy the video.
Yesterday, we introduced you to Sidney Rigdon and the 127 people who joined the church along with him, which basically now made it so there's more members of the church over in Ohio, which is why the Lord has said in section 37, I want you to gather to the Ohio. So he tells two different reasons why the early saints were to gather to Ohio. Now, the obvious reason at the outset seems like, look, you need some leadership there. We need people. There's now 127 members over there, which is more or less doubled what we have, like I said. And so you need people over there. And so there's going to be people called to go to the Ohio. But in section 37, verse number 1, the Lord gives two reasons. And we're going to kind of spend a couple days really kind of massaging that idea. So section 37, verse 1, it says, Behold, I say unto you that it is not expedient in me that you should translate anymore until you go to the Ohio. And this, 1, because of the enemy, and 2, for your sakes. And so you're going to see those two things play into our episodes over the next couple days. So you're moving to Ohio, 1, because of the enemy, and 2, because of your sakes. So now with that in mind, you know what comes after section 37, because 37 is only 4 verses. You go over to section 38 of the Doctrine and Covenants. So you look at this is January 2nd of 1831, and there's a conference going on there. So this is 300 miles from where the church in Fayette, New York was. You go all the way. It's 300 miles. It's during a very difficult winter. This is December, January, 1830, 1831, right around that time period. So they're called to gather and go there. Not everybody is going over there, but they need some help and they need some leadership. Now, with all of that in mind, let me share with you this picture. And you're going to wonder what this picture has to do with anything. Well, you'll see. So this guy right here is Enoch. Okay, you go all the way back Old Testament times, we learn a little bit about Enoch from the Old Testament. We learn a lot about him from the Pearl of Great Price. In fact, during this time period, Joseph and Sidney, again, Sidney is a fairly new member of the church, but as you see here, as you look at Moses chapter 7, this is where you have Enoch and his city. It's talking about the city of Zion. Now you look right there, it says December of 1830. So at this time period, Joseph and Sidney were studying a little bit about Zion. They were translating and getting the book of Moses right there. So they're getting this understanding of Enoch. Now, the reason I bring this up to you, you go to the first 4 verses of section 38, keeping in mind what Joseph and Sidney have been studying at this point. Verse 1, Thus saith the Lord your God, even Jesus Christ, the great I am. We've talked about that before. It's a great statement. Alpha and Omega, the beginning and ending of the Greek alphabet. Beginning and the end, the same, I love this, the same which looked upon the wide expanse of eternity and all the seraphic hosts of heaven before the world was made. The same which knoweth all things, for all things are present before mine eyes. I am the same which spake, and the world was made, and all things came by me. And then this verse, this verse is great. Verse 4, now as you're looking at verse number 4, the Lord often introduces himself with certain titles. And he's not doing it to flex. He's not doing it to just say, here's how awesome I am. Here's what he does in verse 4. I am the same. So far, he's talked about in all 4 of these verses, I'm the same. I am the same which have taken the Zion of Enoch into mine own bosom. And verily I say, even as many as have believed in my name, for I am Christ, and in my own name, by virtue of the blood which I have spilt, have I pleaded before the Father for them. And so you, again, put all this together here. This is January 2nd of 1831. Just right before that, Joseph and Sidney were studying about Zion. And when the Lord says, I am the same that took the Zion of Enoch into my own bosom, I don't think the Lord is just making conversation with these men. I think what he is saying is this is where the Lord is really kind of for the first, not really for the first time, but really tangibly saying, look, I want you to build Zion. And I did it with them, and I can do it for you as well. And so as he's saying that, he's like, I just want to let you know I'm the same guy. I am the same individual who did it with him, and I want to do it with you as well. And the reality of it is, he also wants to do the same thing with us. So he is yesterday, the time of Enoch and of Joseph Smith and Sidney Rigdon back in the day. He is the same today, and he is the same forever. The same God that created Zion wants to do the very same thing with us, and he can do it. And he just kind of outlined his, if I could call this a resume. And again, he's not doing this to just say, I'm amazing. But he is saying it to say, look, I did it for them and I can do it for you as well. That's just something that's kind of interesting. I noticed as Joseph and Sidney were studying these things, the Lord brings this to their attention. And I don't know if you've ever seen that before when you're studying the scriptures. You happen to notice other things during that time period. It's like one of my students pointed this out to me, because we were talking about how sometimes you can open up the scriptures or just scroll to a random chapter and find a verse that that all of a sudden you just need, and it's a great one. And they were like, why does that happen? And I mentioned to him, I said, how many of you have bought a new car recently? And, a few hands went up, and I said, what do you start noticing as you've purchased this car? You start noticing that car around town even more. They've always been there, but you're starting to notice it a little bit more now. And maybe that's what the Lord is doing here for Joseph and Sidney. He's had them study about Zion, and now he's like, look, I want to bring up this to you as we're doing this. One of the things of Sidney's congregation is they really were New Testament seekers of Zion. And so this is a topic to Sidney that is very relevant to him as well. So anyway, I love how the Lord shows us those things. When our minds are focused on them, he will teach us a little bit more. I know that's true.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and thanks for sharing these messages. We appreciate that you do that. If you like what you see, please click the like button. It helps get that message out there more. And again, go check out our socks if you haven't already at bombsocks.com. Godspeed, friends. Have a great day, and we'll see you. Bye-bye.